What is up, guys? Welcome to Loveshack Entertainment, and today we're bringing you a new deck profile video. So this is the first deck profile video we will be bringing you under the new list, which is official as of, Tuesday, I don't know, something like that. So either way, it's the April list if you're watching this at the time that it's posted. And so I have a lot of thoughts on the list, and I am working on getting a video up talking about that. It's probably going to be a little bit later than I intended, but I do like it a lot. I think it's a really good list, and I think it hits a lot of the things that needed to be hit, even if it did hurt some of the decks that we've been sort of toying around with, like Super Quantum and stuff. Definitely took a lot, but we'll get those all situated. We'll get some updated deck profiles video for you within the next month or so. But today I'm bringing you Lightsworn, which is something that I actually have been interested in playing for a while, because obviously the deck has the tendency to be quite autopilot depending on how you play it, because a lot of it is just based on whether or not you mill well and whatever. I kind of wanted to try a little bit of a different spin on the deck and play in a way that if I didn't mill great, I could still sort of play the game, and focus a bit on the rank 4 engine, but also on the ability to synchro summon and stuff. So I'll get into it, and I'll talk about it as I go along. So remember, this is under the April 2016 list. So Triple Judgment Dragon, obviously, I mean, that's a staple in Lightsworn no matter how you look at it. I don't know why you wouldn't play 3, especially when the things happen that you do mill it. You want to be able to at least, draw into them as best you can. Triple Lumina, because this is the sort of like the key component of this deck. Not necessarily the key component, but the fact that it's reliable, but it also fills up your graveyard with stuff, and it's too good not to play. I feel like a lot of people, anyone that's watching this, that's interested in learning Lightsworns, the basics for the most part. 3 Lumina, 3 Judgment Dragon, and 3 Raiden are all, in my opinion, necessary 3-ups. Raiden's a level 4 tuner, but it's also 1700. It mills, so it helps you to turbo through the deck a little bit quicker, and it can also get a boost from its own effect. So it's all in all just probably one of the best cards the deck has access to, especially in combination with Lumina, because you can make level 7 synchros, but also because it's searchable and because it's just a good powerhouse. So we got out of the 3s into the 2s. So 2 Lila. I want to foil this whole deck out, max rarity, and I just kind of like having a high rarity. But the other thing is that you're playing ulti Lilas, they're more likely to appear at the top of the deck, which I know sounds funny, but it's true, especially if you have like heavier copies of the cards. This card I never open when I need it, and that's the reason I say that in the first place. It's a really good card just to out stuff like Domain and other things that Monarchs have access to. Obviously, it's not as good against Cosmo, but you can toy around with the numbers of it if you want to. It's just really good because it's just one of those things that if you do open it, you can clear some back row and let yourself swing to put some more plays on board. 2 Wolf, I absolutely love this card. I think it's really good. I thought there was a time for a while, maybe years even, where this card wasn't as good in Lightsworn because, well, 1, rank 4 engine wasn't nearly as strong and diverse as it is now, and 2, because it would brick a lot. But I just think that with the way the deck functions now and the fact that you do have cards like Goblinberg, the card's just really, really good. I love milling it. It's great. I don't even mind drawing it, but I prefer not to, obviously. I almost wanted to play 3 because it was just really potent when you were playing it at 3 and you milled it. You were able to spam the field, but it does dead draw, and I wanted to keep the deck at 40 because it's just optimal as far as being able to make the best plays. 2 Goblinberg. So some people are playing this at 3, and I just chose to play other things elsewhere. Goblinberg is just really good because it can just summon itself and special dead cards in your hand, like Felice or Wolf, or it can special Raiden from your hand, and then you mill, and then you can synchro or exceed. It just opens up a ton of different play possibilities for you, and I just think it's really good. I did look at Red Resonator as something that was possible because it's a tuner and it's 4, but it does kind of, conflict with Raiden and others, and it's a level 2, so unless you're using it for synchros, it's not nearly as good. 2 Honest, this has always kind of been a standard in Lightsworn, play as many Honest as you have access to. It's unfortunate because you will mill them sometimes, but it's still a great power card, and it still lets you get over big things and ships and stuff. Alright, so that's it for the 2-ups. For the 1-ups, you get Garroth, obviously. He's just, I use his effect every once in a while, but he's just another name and a good level 4. Minerva, just a 1-of. If you mill it, it's good because you get another mill, but it's a tuner, it's level 3, it has combos with Lumina to go into Dante and stuff. Jet Synchron, amazing card. You can discard a card to special it from your graveyard, so you can, fill up your grave with things for Judgment Dragon, and also it's just a level 1 tuner you can do all sorts of things with. Speaking of which, also glow-up bulbs. So obviously these two guys are both, you know, designed solely for that purpose of being used for that. One Gores, I was playing this at 2, but I cut it down to 1 because I just wanted to stay at 40. It's really good. I don't really play much in terms of back row, at least not in the main deck. So Gores is good if you get attacked by stuff like Dark Destroyer and you drop it, you get a strong token. Just one of those cards that's really useful. One Trick Clown, why not 2? Probably because I don't really know what to take out for it. I don't really have the space. I think it's cool at 1. It's never going to be one of those cards like whether you draw it or not. There's so many different ways to make it live. The only reason I would want 2 is to see it a little bit more often, but again, you have a lot of things that function similarly to Trick Clown in this deck, like Wolf and whatnot, so you don't have to worry about it nearly as much. One Felice, great card. Obviously doesn't really hurt Cosmos ships because you can't target, but it's still a tuner. It's a 4, and it's got a 2,000 booty on top of that. And then Aaron, just because it's a name, I never really used this much. I mean, every once in a while I'll summon it, but you don't really use it much for its effect. But in the instances where you do, it's quite strong. And then one Jane, I think this card is good again. 1800, if it swings, it's 21, and under Honest, it's even stronger. So, it's just really good, and it's searchable by Rhoda, so definitely one of the reasons you would want to play it. For these spells, triple solar recharge, and interestingly enough, I've seen some builds not play this at 3. I don't know why you wouldn't. I would just think that it's best to optimize it and play it at 3 because it's just one of those cards you want to see as early and as often as possible. Recharge is a really good card, and it just helps you speed up things in the deck. Not to mention, you do lose Upstart Goblin, so now that it's at 1, I mean, it's not really even worth it to play it in here anymore, so you really want to take as much advantage as you can of the ability to draw into things. 2 Charger Light Brigade, again, this turbos your deck. It mills, you search, you get whatever you need, and it's amazing. You open with like this in Recharge in your opening hand, and then you just have plays for days as far as, you know, thinning the deck goes. 2 Galaxy Cyclones, so I'm opting not to play Twin Twister in here. Most of the time you're going to mill it, whereas if you mill Cyclone, you can still utilize its effect from the grave. So this basically has, if you draw it, it's okay. If you don't draw it, that's fine too. It's one of those things you just want to see end up in grave. 1 Soul Charge, obviously you throw your whole deck in the graveyard, so this is always going to be good. 1 Reasoning, and I was actually playing this at more than 1, obviously, but the list made it so that's not possible. It does counter with Honest a little bit, and that's kind of annoying, but it's really the only thing it negatively works with, and I just think it's worth it to have the 1 because it's more of just one of those utility cards that if you draw in too early, you can get good use out of it. In worst case scenario, if you do summon Honest off it, you know, you can always add it back to hand or whatever. It doesn't seem to happen all that often. 1 Foolish, because this is basically like a Rhoda in the deck. 1 Instant Fusion, again, we only have 1 Norden now, so there's really no point playing this at more than 1, but this is just because Norden is amazing still, obviously. 1 Reinforcement of the Army, searches Raiden, searches Jane, other stuff, but mostly just searches Raiden. But it also searches Goblinberg, so that's not a bad option either. And then 2 Breakthrough Skills. So this is basically in place of Effect Failure because I didn't really see the need nor the space for it. Breakthrough is obviously really good. It doesn't hurt with Gores because you're not going to worry about it being on the field much. And if you do mill it, you can just use its effect from the graveyard. So it's really good. And the card itself has done quite well in terms of certain matchups for me. For the extra deck, we've got the 1 Dante. It's the only 3 I play. You can make 2 Luminas or Minerva, whatever. You don't have that option all that often, but when you do, it's really good to have, especially early game. 1 Abyss Dweller, 1 Shark, 1 Cowboy, all rank 4s. Additional rank 4s, Daigusto Emerald. This is really good because this lets you get your Judgment Dragons back in deck if you do mill them, but also it can put your Goblinberg back, your Trick Clown back. Really, you can set up the deck however you want it by recycling stuff with him. And then 1 Kestil for the rank 4. So I got the whole rank 4 toolbox for the most part. No Rebellion, but there's plenty of things in there. 1 Big Eyes. This is more like a personal preference card, but I do play a lot of 7s, and I can make them easily. I don't go into this much, but there are some scenarios where I might, and it can definitely help you to win a game in the instances where you do need it. 1 Armades, because I play a lot of the level 1 tuners and some 4s, and Armades is still a really good card. Michael, the Arc Lightsworn, I think I go into this more than anything else. It's really good removal. Unfortunately, it does target, but it's a light, it's 26, it banishes, so it gets over a lot of stuff. Black Rose, great card, obviously. That just goes without saying. And Odd Eyes Meteor Burst Dragon. So this I was playing Arcanite Magician, but I played this instead. Obviously hurts Cosmo a lot, and it just, you know, it's pretty cool. It's a good card. Obviously, the Pendulum effect is relatively useless. 1 Stardust and 1 Scrap Dragon. So I'm only playing this in place of Scarlet, Red Dragon, Archfiend because at the moment I don't have one. I would absolutely play Scarlet instead. Scarlet's way too good of a card not to play. Scrap has its uses for sure, so I would keep him probably, unless you wanted to play like Crimson Blader or something. But Stardust is just not that great against the meta right now, so I definitely would play Scarlet over that instead. And then one Leo, because you can make him, and he's pretty good because he's 31, so it is a little bit difficult for Cosmo to get over him. They do have Cosmojo, obviously, so there are non-targeting outs, but at least it, Dark Destroyer can't pop him, so that's something. And then one Norden, because he's good, and obviously he's limited now, so... And then for the side deck, this is where I get a little bit trap heavy and play a little bit more control. And in that instance, I kind of adjust the deck as such. But 2 Time Space Trap Hole is still really good against the Cosmo matchup. 1 Typhoon, only I like the fact that this is just one of those things that you can kind of open and just have handy as like an extra way to get over stuff. Most of the time you're going to mill it though, and most of the time I don't end up siding it in. But it's just one of those things that's kind of there. Arguably, you could use it better. 1 warning, side that in. You don't want to main this. I mean, you just mill too much. 2 Imperial Iron Wall, that's obviously the Cosmo matchup, really good card. And I probably would play 3, actually, after like playing in a tournament with this recently, just because if you do mill it, you want to make sure you're still able to draw it. So that's definitely pretty good. Fairy Wind, still, obviously this hits Monarchs a lot, and it also hits Pendulums to an extent, but Draco Palace, who knows what that deck's going to look like now that they, the list has kind of hit Wavering Eyes and all that stuff. 2 Mistaken Arrest, this is a Monarch side for sure, but it also, it's a decent utility side against random stuff like Stellars that might pop up every once in a while. 2 Spell Shattering Arrow, this is just, Monarchs, Pendulums, whatever. I guess it's a bit redundant with Fairy Wind, but I'll generally side it in all 4 just to increase the odds of drawing into it. And triple Drolan Lockbird, so I think this card's amazing. I love being able to have it against Monarchs, and to a lesser extent stuff like Cosmo and Mermail, but really, really good card, and it doesn't really hurt me nearly as much as playing something like Mistake would. And obviously, you just, like I said, I play 3 because I want to make sure I can open it. The odds are you may end up milling it, so you want to be able to open and access it. So I think this card's really good. I think it's going to be extremely good in the upcoming meta, and that's just my personal opinion. But even with Blue Eyes stuff and other things that relies heavily on searching, the card's going to be good. So definitely pretty happy with the deck and the way it's turned out so far. And if you guys have any comments, questions, concerns, etc. that you would like to add, feel free to do so. Hope you guys did enjoy the deck profile, and I'll see you next time right here at Loveshack Entertainment. Bye-bye.